Hey guys, today I want to talk about contact patch optimization and the difference between wider tires and narrower tires. So there's a common misconception that slapping huge tires on our car is going to increase the size of our contact patch and all of a sudden lead to an increased amount of grip. Today I want to explain why that is not the case. Although there is some truth to that, the whole theory goes a lot deeper, and it's worth noting some of these important facts which I'm about to mention. Firstly, the most important thing to consider is that the size of your contact patch is not determined by the width of the tire. Now most of you might think, whoa, how is that possible? What do you mean? A wider tire definitely means a bigger contact patch. Well, I'll explain to you why. The formula for pressure is as follows. Pressure is equal to force divided by area. It's a very simple, straightforward formula. Area represents the size of our contact patch in this case scenario. So if we want to derive the formula in such a way as to get the answer for area, we would say area is equal to force divided by pressure. This here is the formula which we can use to calculate the area of our contact patch. Force represents the weight that each tire has in each corner of the car. So obviously that's dependent on the weight distribution of the car, the total weight of the car, and so forth. So each tire has a particular weight which is loading the tire vertically. Pressure, as we know, is the pressure of the tire. You can decide that by inflating it more or deflating it. So now when we look at this formula, we can see that the area of the contact patch is essentially only a function of the force on the tire and the pressure of the tire. The width and the diameter and all these other parameters are nowhere to be found in this formula over here. So let's elaborate even further. So now we have the formula on the top so that we don't forget that, and remembering that the area of the contact patch is a function of these two parameters over here. So now let's compare two tires. This is the view from the side. When we look at it from the top, the one is narrow, the other one wider. Let's say for argument's sake the diameter is the same, everything else is the same, only the width of the tires are different. So now if we were to stick to this formula over here, the area of the two contact patches of these two tires would theoretically be the exact same if the force F equals the force F and the pressure in this tire is the same as the pressure in that tire. How does that reflect on the contact patch and its size and its shape more specifically? So in the case of the narrow tire, the area of the contact patch may look something like this. This is A, size of the contact patch. When we switch to a wider tire on the same vehicle with the same tire pressure, essentially what we observe, the contact patch gets shortened, but the area of the actual contact patch remains the same. Now we can go a lot into detail about how the different shapes of the contact patch leads to different results and behavior of the vehicle, but we can leave that for another video. The point of today's video is to understand that essentially the width of the tire does not change the size of the contact patch. The contact patch is always the same size. It'll only change the shape of the contact patch. So with a narrower tire, we can expect to have a longer contact patch, which would obviously lead to more deformation of the tire when it steps on the road. With the wider tire, we have a shorter contact patch, which leads to less deformation of the tire when it contacts the ground. From that aspect, we can immediately determine that the rolling resistance of this tire will be larger because we're getting a much larger degree of deformation in the actual tire, and that deformation is happening cycle after cycle after cycle. One of the most obvious benefits of the wider tire is the fact that by having a shorter contact patch, we have a reduced rolling resistance of the tire, which can lead to greater efficiency and better top speeds. That's your top tip for today. Thank you.